Hello and welcome to the Plumes of Oz, where today we're going to look at the masked lapwing. Firstly, there are two subspecies in Australia, one with the black coming down from the neck over the chest and the other one without the black. And they are often called spurwings. Look at those spurs. Here are a typical lapwing seen in the southern part of Australia. Black cap, yellow bill, yellow folds going over the bill, yellow mask, fawn on the back, and a black line going down from the throat onto the chest at the top level of the wing. Here now is the northern subspecies. This is the nominate race. At a glance you may think it's the same, but notice the chest is much whiter and lacks the black band running from the neck onto the chest at the top of the wing. Also those skin folds coming down over the bill. They're yellow, but look how long they are in the northern subspecies. Skin folds in lapwings are often called wattles, but this is not quite correct for the masked lapwing, for they originate high above the bill. As such, form part of the headdress, so the correct terminology is lappet. The bird family Charadriidae includes dotterels, plovers and lapwings. My favourite of these is the little hooded plover, an intertidal plover found along the coastline of the southern parts of Australia. In contrast to this is the inland dotterel, and as its name suggests, it's found in the inland, drier parts of Australia, the one plover that doesn't need to be by water. The red-capped plover. Now, plover and dotterel are virtually synonymous terms, as there is no real distinction apart from local terminology to distinguish these. And the little red-capped plover, the male gets a bright red cap when he goes into breeding plumage. Another one with a red periorbital eye ring. This is the black-fronted dotterel, more of a marshland bird. Another plover or dotterel that comes from New Zealand is the double-banded plover. Some plovers seen in Australia are migratory, flying huge distances to get away for winter, coming from subarctic areas of the northern hemisphere. Like these golden plovers, they aren't very golden at the moment, for they are in their non-breeding plumage. A similar situation with this bird, the Oriental Plover, again here to escape winter, mostly migrating to the warmer parts in North Australia, but these were photographed fairly south at the Hunter River wetlands. There is one other local lapwing in Australia, and that is the banded lapwing as shown here. Unlike the masked lapwing, is more of an open plains bird, less dependent on water, like the inland dotterel we just looked at. And here you can see a breeding pair out west in the plains with chicks. Charadriidae is the family name for plovers and dotterels, for they inhabit areas around water, from Charadra, torrent of water. Another member of the dotterel and plover family, the red-kneed dotterel. And like the black-fronted dotterel, the red-kneed prefers marshlands. Now the charadriiforms, when mating, engage in unison activity. And before looking at the lapwings, I'd just like to show you the race that the male and the female have with the red-kneed dotterels. Here go the breeding pair, racing one another with symmetry. And the lapwings with mating rituals can do it even better. The ritual involves symmetry of movement and vocalization. The species name is Vanellus miles. Vanellus is Greek from winnowing, and so this Greek term from the sound from winnowing wheat has been applied to the lapwings, the lapping sound of the wing. Now often it's thought that the lapwing gets its name because of the lap overhanging the bill. Instead, it's from the lap sound that the wings make of this bird as it takes off into flight. And miles is Latin for soldier, for in breeding mode, one of the pair often stands at attention, watching over its partner sitting on a nest or observing the chicks. Then, if there is any threat to the bird sitting at a nest or the chicks, it does the soldier act becoming rather aggressive and vocal. Once the eggs are laid, the pair take turns sitting at the nest. The nest is usually a simple scrape in a grass area, very open and prone to predation. After a month of sitting, the chicks arrive. They are usually very small, about the size of a 50-cent piece, often hard to tell that they are tucked under the wing of the adult. Here is the nest after the chicks have been born. You can see that it's just a very simple scrape. There is no eggshell left, for it was taken by butcher birds, and at the bottom there are just a few little wood chips. The adult goes from squatting to standing. There are an extra pair of legs, and here the chick pops out from under the wing. Lapwings surprisingly have adapted well to urbanisation. The reason why they've coped with urbanisation, they are very defensive of the nest and the young, and like magpies, are birds very likely to chase humans away from their breeding territory. I had a recent experience in my backyard where these lapwings are now photographed, where 3 eggs from a nest gave rise to 4 chicks. So there was a set of twins, a double yolker egg. At birth, a lapwing chick does not get fed by its parents. It has to find food for itself. The role of the parent is to lead it to where the food is and often show it what is there. But the adults never feed the chick. This is called a precocial chick, in contrast to other birds like pigeons and parrots that feed their young until they're fledged. This is called the altricial chick, but lapwings are precocial. Here in central Queensland, still a southern subspecies, an adult lapwing calls to the young. The young are still in the lagoon. The adult is on the levee bank. And the amazing thing is that these young precocial chicks can not only feed themselves, but just watch, they can also swim. A pair of lapwings raising chicks is a full-time job. Now you may think that lapwings, because the chicks are precocial and they don't have to worry about feeding them, will have a better survival result. But unfortunately, this isn't true. The stubborn way these birds continually breed in open grass areas makes them prone to attack. I showed the 4 chicks that were bred locally. The butcher birds took 3 of them within 2 days. The squawking of the parents tells the chick to crouch down in the open area or to go and hide under a hedgerow, but they are slow to do so, and in the short interval they can't get taken. In urban areas there is far more surrounding disturbance for the lapwings than in the bush. So in urban areas the constant calling of the adults is far more pronounced, trying to fend off predators or chase them away, and in addition tell the chicks to go and hide. Unfortunately, with the more constant nature of this boisterous calling, other predatory birds are attracted to see what is going on. And so the kookaburras, currawongs, butcher birds, magpies often get notice from the adult birds calling that chicks are about. In addition, the other problem in urban areas are domestic pets. Despite all the concerns I've raised with the lapwings breeding in urban areas, their numbers appear to be increasing. And the reason for this is that lapwings can have multiple clutches. The clutch, when there was a quote 2 out of 3 ain't bad, was the second clutch for the breeding pair during this year. 2 out of 3 of the chicks survived. The first clutch, no chicks survived at all because it was close to a building zone. And then the third clutch, with 4 chicks, 1 of them has survived so far. So this would give us 3 chicks as an average for a breeding season. So these birds can multiply in urban areas. As mentioned, one of the previous names of the lapwing in Australia was the spurwing. These spurs come off the alula, or the distal wrist of the bird, perhaps equivalent to our thumb. Spurs can be found in both the northern and the southern subspecies. They vary in size, and on some lapwings they cannot be visualised, as they may be very small. But here is a good example of a typical lapwing standing at attention, and he has his spurs folded across his chest, ready to defend the chicks. Though the lapwing chicks are precocial, that is, they can feed themselves, even swim, at a few days old, there is nothing better when it is raining than finding a warm wing to shelter under, and this is where Mum and Dad come in. Sometimes when looking at an adult lapwing, you can see spare legs coming out from underneath. This is where the chick is roosting. When the lapwings are in breeding mode, they are very much a pair. They will even keep other lapwings away from the young. But when not in breeding mode, they are more like this, flying, looking for feeding sites as a flock. This flock behaviour is characteristic of both the northern and the southern varieties of lapwing. Well, let's head back north and look at some lapwings at higher latitudes, the nominate species. It doesn't have the black band coming down from the throat onto the chest, and look at those lappets, they are rather long. But overall these birds have the same behavioural features as their southern counterparts, being rather gregarious in flock behaviour. In flight, particularly at takeoff and landing, they call. As a flock, they will come to a grass area, preferring short grass, not long grass, preferably close to water. And as a flock they arrive, separating only as they forage, for insects, invertebrates and grass seed. Then of an evening, they will get back as a flock into a common roosting area. Although in North Queensland we still find that we have the southern subspecies of bird. And look at this foot movement. It's doing a jig, stamping its foot. This is called tremulous activity, and it certainly seems to increase the pecking rate of these birds. This tremulous foot activity can be done on surface mud or mud underwater. Underwater, it also helps the bird to find insects on the surface as the waves make them more obvious. And then the other factor is that by stamping on the mud, the insects lift up, making it easier to get a feed. A lapwing with a little bit of down, no adults about, and a totally independent bird. Another, and this bird can stand on one leg, the criteria for calling this bird an adult. On behalf of Plumes of Oz, thank you for watching this video. We hope you've enjoyed it. If you subscribe to this channel, you will get automatic notification of our next release of Australian birds in the wild.